Hi there, my name's Tom, and today is going to be another prepper video. It's about one of the sillier things you'll see on YouTube. It's the Altoids tin survival kit. And as silly as that sounds, and as silly as a lot of those videos are, um, within reason, you can make a fun project out of this. It's a good thinking and learning exercise. And, I'll just run you kind of through how it worked for me because I was thinking to myself, well, survival in a little tin like that is silly. And you watch people put all this goofy stuff in there, and it's not really survival based. So I thought about, what if we stopped focusing on how I'm going to survive with just what's in my can? It's like, why don't we just make a useful kit? And so I decided to go with a fire starting kit. And, it just holds a few useful things. This is like the original kit I was playing with. And here's my mini ferro rod, very thoroughly used. A little bit of hemp or sisal, just natural fiber string. It unspool, you tease it apart and suddenly it's really easy to light tinder. I've got some lantern wick. The end of it is singed so that, I can actually get this lit pretty easily and use it as a match or a candle to light a fire. Just a small little plug of fat wood that I take shavings off of. Good for, you know, starting fire when you've got to deal with wet conditions. And then I put this little P38 can opener in there because I was like, well, maybe I can use this as a striker for the ferro rod. And no, even if you put a hard corner on one side of this, the reality is most of this is not hardened steel. So you'll lose that corner almost immediately. You get one strike with it. So this kit requires... Oh, and I put just a little bit of 1-inch wide duct tape in there, maybe a foot of it. And that kit does require you to have, a pocket knife with something on it you can use as a striker. But overall, it's pretty good. It's not the most convenient thing. But why stop there? My leatherworking hobby, I was like, I could use that to sell a belt pouch. And so, this is the design belt pouch I made. It has a clip. And I can't remember exactly what the original looked like. But it only had one button, and that just created dog ear problems. So I switched over to two. I ended up reinforcing the leather. This is probably my second or third version of this pouch. And, I put a Fresnel lens in, and, I just put a tin, not an Altoids one, in there. And suddenly I ended up being able to sell them to Boy Scouts and to a Scoutmaster who was giving these things out. The real money you're paying for is the leather work, but the fire starting kit, kind of helped. But he didn't want his kids to lose these things, so he told me to get rid of the clip, and we just run a belt through it now. And that works out great. And this is my latest design in a nice heavy buffalo leather. And, I upgraded the kit just a bit. Let me take this electric tape off. That's good for making sure it maintains some degree of weather tightness. And I still got my cordage. I bought a little bit bigger ferro rods to go in there and put a duct tape handle on them. The duct tape is good tinder, by the way. Still has the can opener. Got your little plug of fat wood. and I added a striker. And, of course, the lantern wick. But I also added a cotton ball with paraffin wax in it. And a flat fold of 2-inch duct tape with an easy peel-away handle. So again, this is tinder, but it can also be used to repair your poncho or tarp or whatever. But we stayed on topic with that. For the most part, nothing in there is superfluous. We're not trying to fill it with fishing gear and medical equipment, and we're not trying to find a super tiny knife to fit in there, and we're not getting too busy with the kit. So then it goes back in and with the Fresnel lens. Alright, so there was that. But then I was like, you know what? I can still keep it on topic and relevant and add just a little bit more. So this is, and maybe this is just a little bit too much, but it still has everything else in there. But I've also added matches, and I've contact cemented a match striker inside the lid. I've also contact cemented 600 grit sandpaper to the bottom so that, you know, hey, maybe the spine of your knife is a bit wore out. You need to get a better corner on it again, or maybe you just need to sharpen to a rough to medium edge because your knife got dull. You've got some extra sandpaper there if you don't have a pocket stone. So I think maybe I got a little bit too busy with this one, but, you know, again, we're staying with a kit that remains pretty easily organized, still useful, and, you know, it was a useful thought experiment of how I could put a whole lot of useful things together. And yeah, it worked out well. Now, do I think this is the right way to go starting a fire? No, of course not. That is the pick lighter. But you know what? Having a backup just sitting in your car, if you go camping, toss it in your backpack, doesn't hurt to have. And again, you play with it, you use the things in there, and you build up a little bit of skills. So in the highly unlikely scenario, you have to actually use this to start a fire because you're cold and trapped, you know, stuck outside in the wilderness because you put your car in a ditch halfway to Ticonderoga. Well, I mean, I suppose it's there for you. Well, anyway, this was a long rambling video. Sorry about that. But Altoids Tin Survival Kit. Just a ridiculous concept that, you know, with a little bit of thought, you actually have a fun thought experiment on how to make something useful and compact. And in my case, it helped me pay for my hobby. So, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and have a great day.